Hello lovelies, how are you all today? I hope you're well. Yay, here we are at the end of July. Thoughts on a month 39, goodness me. Now I'm just going to quickly say it is boiling today, absolutely boiling. And I've had to close all my windows because it's really noisy. So close the windows while I'm filming. So if I look a little flushed, that's why. I'm just looking at my thermostat. My indoor thermostat says 35 already. We're not even at the hottest part of the day, nowhere near it. Also, I've got a slight droop going on because I've been brewing a migraine for 3 days. I don't know whether it's the weather, quite what it is, but it's really frustrating. Usually with my migraines, or more often than not, I brew a migraine and by say 2 or 3 in the afternoon, it's so bad. I take my drugs, I go to bed, ice pack, darken the room, that's it. And I stay in bed for, 16, 18 hours or whatever. That's how I get rid of it. That's how I deal with it. But occasionally, like this one, it's sort of not quite getting there. So, for instance, again, last night I went to bed, I took a dose of my drugs, I didn't set the alarm, I just let myself sleep. 10 hours later, I woke up this morning and it's like, oh, it's still there. It's so frustrating. It's not bad enough for me to go to bed for the day, but it's still there, and it just stops me from working or stops me from getting on with things. But never mind. I'm going to be guzzling a lot today because it is so hot. Yeah, these stupid migraines, they get in the way from time to time, but, that's my lot in life. Right, anyway, never mind that. So, the stuff I was going to talk about today is completely changed because of something that happened this week. So, we'll have a change of tack, but that's all right. Now, excuse me. I'm going to talk about money a bit. I just want to say straight up, no, thank you. I don't want any. No, thank you. This isn't a pity party. I'm talking about it because it's a practical thing. And the whole thing about my channel these last 3, excuse me, 3 and a bit years has been, is it possible for me to live without a wage? It's about being frugal, etc., etc. So, inevitably money is part of that. Now, I don't really care much for money, obviously, because I live on so little, and that's absolutely fine by me. But I still do have a few bills to pay. So, obviously the gas, the electricity, the water, the council tax, the building insurance, the contents insurance, the land that my flat sits on. I own the walls, I own my flat, but I don't own the land that the building sits on, so I have to rent that. So there are all these little bills that add up each month. And honestly, it's not a huge amount of money, which is how it's possible for me to live without a wage. I don't have a mortgage, I paid all that off. Student debts, paid all those off. But yeah, I still have bills to pay, so I need to make a bit of money to pay those bills. I'm not interested in making money in order for me to go shoe and handbag shopping. I'm not interested in making money for me to go and get my hair done, or any of all those other frivolous things that I don't do, and I'm happy to not do. I'm perfectly happy. But yeah, so for example, my little shop, we're going to come on to that properly in a minute, but hosting the shop online, I pay a sort of rent to have the shop, and I also have to pay for a PO box because I need a return address. Because I'm sending out parcels, I need a return address, and I made the decision even before I opened the shop that I wouldn't use my home address for that I would have a separate PO box. Just those two things combined renting the shop online and having my PO box, that's £65 every month. 65 quid, it's quite a lot of money. So it will become apparent why I'm talking about all this in a minute and why, change of plan. So, until now, as I've mentioned previously, doing YouTube, so for the last 3 years, I've produced 3 videos a week for the most part, and 3 videos a week, 12 videos a month. That generates enough revenue from the adverts to cover my bills. Fantastic. So then, you know, whatever else I do is on top of that, and that means I can do a little bit of extra food shopping if I want for those things that I don't grow, or, you know, every now and again it's a new pair of trainers. Just those little bits and bobs in life that every now and again we need. I say need rather than want. Yeah, most of the extras I buy are need rather than want. Occasionally it's a want, a book, for example. So yeah, it's great. The last 3 years doing YouTube, I love doing it. I love making my videos. I love editing them, but more than anything, I love that interaction once the videos go up. I love the interaction with you guys. It's fantastic. And I genuinely feel that over the 3 years, we've become our own little community. It's fantastic. So I love doing it, but it takes a lot of time. So as the example of those 3 videos a week, the time it takes to make it. So, you know, when I do a little chat video like I'm doing now, this is a much quicker video to make because it's one shot on the camera and it's one take usually. So editing is really quick and easy too. It's usually a bit of topping and tailing, that's it. But generally speaking, the 3 videos each week, that takes up about 30 hours of time for the making, the editing, and then all the interactions afterwards. Because it's not just comments on the videos, but quite often a video will generate, I'll get messages or emails sent with some questions, or quite often just, you know, a word of support or whatever it is. So yeah, 30 hours a week. Now, as I'd mentioned, I can't remember when, I'd mentioned previously that my shop had ground to a halt pretty much in the last few months because I'm not able to go to sales and auctions to find anything to put in the shop. And even though we're having these lockdown easings or whatever they're called, there are still the places that I would go to find stock are still not happening. So that was one thing. So the shop has, in terms of generating that bit of extra income, that had virtually stopped. And I'd also previously mentioned how suddenly the revenue from YouTube massively dropped. I mean, it halved. It literally overnight, it halved. So I've spoken to a few other YouTube creators about this, and not just in sort of similar to me, say gardening YouTube channels, but also other channels that do things like cooking, home preserving, that sort of thing, sewing. And it seems across the board that the revenue has gone down for everyone. But a couple of friends I've spoken to have said their revenue has started to go back up, which is great. However, for me, at the end of May, my revenue seems to take another hit. And it's now, comparing, say, this month last year, it's a third of what it was. A third. I mean, it's crazy. And it's kind of annoying as well because I'm actually getting more views than I ever used to. The watch time has increased. So I feel like the advertisers are getting advertising space so cheaply now. There's nothing I can do about it. It's so frustrating. Anyway, the long and the short of it is, as we came into July, I was sort of doing my accounts for the previous month. I was doing my accounts for... Oh no, I was thinking about this at the beginning of June because I was doing my accounts for May. And I thought, right, this isn't tenable. I'm getting nothing from the shop. I'm now hardly getting anything from YouTube. And I just sort of, you know, it was a bit of a... You have to now be a bit realistic, Vivi. If this is the way it's going with YouTube, you're going to have to think outside the box because you can't rely on it anymore. So, but at the same time, it was about that time that a couple of other YouTube friends had said their revenue was picking up again. So I thought, oh, okay, great. Maybe it was just a temporary glitch because of COVID and lockdown. Although I did think that was weird because I was thinking during lockdown, I imagined that more people were watching YouTube than ever before. And in fact, my viewing figures had gone up. Anyway, so it's a long and roundabout way. Yeah, I waited till the end of June. My figures had gone down again. And I thought, right, I can't do this. I cannot spend 30 hours a week doing something which isn't, I mean, it's not even covering my bills, you know. The lecky, my internet service provider, you know, the whole way that I do all of this via the internet, I can't even pay for the internet from doing YouTube. So I sort of made the decision at the beginning of July that I still had quite a lot of stuff to get on with in the garden. So I thought, right, carry on pushing on with the garden and I can film that. But as the garden gets a bit more sorted, in other words, as we go into August, I'm going to, not entirely, but I'm going to pretty much ditch YouTube and focus all, well, the majority, not the majority. Focus the majority, the vast majority, there we go, the vast majority of my time, I'm corpsing myself, on sewing. In other words, if I can't buy stock for the shop from auctions and sales, because they're not happening, and if I can't generate any income from YouTube, these things just have to be ditched. And I have to do work that I can generate that bit of income from. And I know it sounds odd, I'm talking about generating income when I'm supposed to be living without a wage. And I've had a few negative naysayers over the years be like, oh, well, you are earning a wage. I'm not earning a wage. Firstly, a wage is something that's, you know, it's kind of guaranteed, isn't it? You work for someone else, they pay you, and you should be getting the minimum wage. I'm not earning a wage. I'm not even earning a living. Literally what I'm doing is, as so many subsistence farmers have done over the years, I grow enough food for myself and I do a couple of bits on the side purely to pay my bills. So, right, crack on, Vivi. So the point is, I had made that decision at the beginning of July that July would be my last month of doing so many hours on YouTube. It would be the last month when I'd be doing 3 videos a week. From August, I would be doing full-time sewing. And when I say full-time, I'm talking 60 hours a week, so it's more than full-time. And on top of that, I might do 1 video a week, so that's 10 hours. And then the other stuff I do in life. And I was thinking, yeah, brilliant, really, really happy with that decision. Girding myself and actually really, really looking forward to just getting my head down and sewing, because, you know, in some ways it's, oh, how to put it? It's almost like there's less responsibility about it. I'm very responsible about it in terms of making sure I'm a bit of a perfectionist with my work, so making sure everything is beautiful and perfect, but there's no one watching me doing it. I get on with it, put it in the shop. If you like it, you buy it. If you don't, you don't. Whereas with making the videos, there's always that thing in the back of one's mind of, are people going to like this? Is it interesting? Is it informative? Is it entertaining? You know, it's it's quite a burden sometimes, worrying about how one's work will be received in that way. And also just in terms of thinking about, producing 3 videos a week, that's quite a lot of work up here as well, of trying to plan that and think about it. Anyway, so I was quite relieved at the prospect of just shutting the front door, staying in here where no one can see me, and just getting on with the sewing. Yay! So in the last couple of weeks I've been catching up, excuse me, another glug. I've been catching up on a couple of commissions which were from ages ago. I'd mentioned previously some bunting that people had specifically asked for. There was a local lady who I'd done an advert just before Christmas locally to say, come and have a look at my shop. She bought some bunting for Christmas, really liked it, and messaged me at the end of June to say, I'd like some more, please. So I had a few outstanding orders, which I cracked on with, all but one. Coming to this in a minute. Managed to, oh yes, I've got a thank you to say. Managed to get my first mask made. It's a bit of a prototype. It's very cute though. Hang on a second. Can you see that I'm smiling? It's hard, isn't it? But yeah, I sort of adapted a pattern, pink on the inside, but there's a little essential bit here so that if you wanted to put a filter in, you can. And then the elastics, I made them so that there's a little, can you see, there's a little pocket for the elastic here. So the knot on the elastic is on the inside, so you can adjust the ear straps. It's like, great, because I've got a load of these to make for my family. In the meantime, thank you so much. I had a couple sent to me by Renee as a birthday present. Thank you so much, Renee. They're so cute. Look, this one, it's covered in nurses. And this one with sticking plasters. So yeah, I was cracking on with all these jobs and thinking, wow, I can't wait for August, get stuck in with all the sewing. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Oopla, get comfy. And as July was wearing on, I was feeling more and more relieved about making that decision, both in terms of dumping YouTube to a large degree, but focusing on sewing. It all just felt really, really right. Yay! So this is why I've changed what I was talking about today, because a couple of days ago, my poor old sewing machine ground to a halt. So, about 2 weeks ago, I'd actually phoned I've got an old-fashioned phone. I'd actually phoned my local sewing machine shop / repair place. I've never been there, but many of you, especially those of you who follow me on Facebook, will have seen I talk often about the fabric shop that I go to, which is sort of 3 villages away, as it were. I adore that fabric shop, it's wonderful. And whenever I'm there, I'm always overhearing someone being advised about sewing machine repairs or service for this particular place, which is up the road a ways from the fabric shop. So that's always been in the back of my mind. And a couple of weeks ago, I thought, right, you know what? If I'm going to have from August and probably right now through till Christmas, if I'm going to be full-time sewing, more than full-time sewing, I think I should probably get the sewing machine serviced, because it was getting a bit noisy, you know. So I rang them to say, do I need to make an appointment? They were so lovely. The lass on the phone, she said, when was the last time you had it serviced? And I said, in the factory, 25 years ago. She couldn't believe that my machine was still running. But she said, yeah, just come in anytime. You don't need an appointment. And I said, what's the turnaround time? And she said, well, obviously depending what needs to be done, if you need any parts. We normally say a week. She said, but at the moment, it's a 3-week to 4-week turnaround. Because apparently everyone during lockdown has suddenly decided to get their sewing machines out of their lofts and attics and have a go on them. So they've got a massive backlog of machines to service and repair. So chatting away, and I thought, okay, that's fine. I thought what I'll do is I'll finish all these current commissions, get all these face masks done, both for me, for my friends and family, sort out Paul's shed curtain that was supposed to be for his birthday a few days ago. Yeah, and now it's ground to a halt. I won't go into details, but needless to say, it ain't working. And I've got one commission that I need to get finished. Fortunately, I've managed to borrow a machine for one day tomorrow, so I'm going to work dawn till dusk to get this other commission finished. It's for you, Carrie, and it's because it's 7 meters of bunting, so it's a lot to do. Anyway, so on the day that it became apparent, like I said, it's a couple of days ago, that the machine was, at least temporarily, I hope they can fix it. I had a little bit of a panic, I'll be honest. I had a bit of a panic, a little bit of a meltdown, thinking, excuse me, oh my God, I can't be without my sewing machine for 3 or 4 weeks. Basically, it's August. I'm not going to have my sewing machine for August. How on earth am I going to generate any income? You know, YouTube has flatlined. Well, it's worse than flatlined. Is there a worse than flatlined? Oh no, why does this happen to you? Why is this happening to me? All that kind of stuff. But then, and this is my usual take when I have a problem, something like that comes along, I'll allow myself, you know, half an hour of a pity party, hissy fit, meltdown, whatever. But then I'll kind of have that moment of going, right, you're in a bit of a pickle, Vivi. How are you going to get out of it? And I'm really, really excited now, because what initially, in that initial moment of, oh no, this is a problem, I've kind of flipped it through 180 degrees to say, this is an opportunity. Because there are loads of things I've had on a to-do list for 2-3 years even. Ridiculous. So, yeah, I'm seeing the next month as a massive opportunity to just do things completely differently to how I've been doing them for the last 3 years. So I'll come back to YouTube in a minute, but generally my schedule, I don't really have a schedule as such, but my life is, I'm either making videos or doing something for the shop. That's it. And it's 7 days a week, and more often than not, it's 10-12 hours a day. Crazy. I've had 4 days off this year. 4 days off. And each of those 4 days have been spent with friends, which has been absolutely glorious. But that's a stupidly small amount of time to have time off. So I'm going to do all sorts of things in August that I've been meaning to do for ages, including taking some time off to look after myself, because, you know, oh my goodness, I need to go back to the doctor to get my vitamin D levels checked. That's been put off and put off. I've been really, really slack about taking my supplements. Just, you know, all my good habits over the last few months, they've slid, because literally I get up in the morning and I think, right, what am I going to do today to generate some income? And I'm straight on it. I'm straight on the computer or straight on the sewing machine, and I don't have my breakfast and I don't have my supplements. It's got to stop. So my health in August is one thing I can really focus on. I need to get back to doing my physiotherapy. That's gone out of the window. Now that's partly because, you know, for most of May, all of June and the first couple of weeks of July or so, I was working really hard in the garden. By the time I came home, there was no way I was going to do any physio. I couldn't walk. I could hardly walk from the bathroom to the kitchen or from my bed to the bathroom in the morning, so there was no way I was going to do physio. But I really need to focus on working on my strength and hopefully burning off a few calories. I'd like to lose a few pounds. That would be great. So yeah, use this month coming to focus on me and my health instead of, all the other stuff I normally do. I've had a ton of stuff sitting in boxes, waiting for me to put them on eBay. Now it's stuff that's not suitable for my shop. I don't want it in my shop. It's not that kind of vibe. But I never get around to doing it because I don't know if any of you have ever done eBay. You spend ages photographing your things and then you describe them and da-da-da. So that's something I can do. Another thing I'm really excited about, this goes back to my book selling days. As a professional bookseller, I used to sell on ABE books. So now it's not for private it's not for private individuals, it's not for amateurs. That's what I'm trying to say. It's not for amateurs. So it's not like, you get a second-hand paperback, you sell it for £1 on eBay. This is for books which are, £50, £60, £100 in some cases, £300 or £400 in some cases. This is for sort of specialist first editions, antiquarian books, that sort of thing. And I believe there is a possibility that I can sell via ABE books. So again, it's been on my list to look into for ages. So great, let's spend some time looking into that. And if I can, of the books that I'm happy to sell, that I want to sell, I would say that there's probably about 1 week's worth of cataloguing to do here, because I won't be selling them all. But a lot of them, I bought them as investment pieces, as it were, in the first place. If I see a book for £2 or £3 in a charity shop, now this doesn't happen so much these days because the charity shops check online, but I can think of one straight away. Oh, I can't reach it. It's way back there in my Virginia Woolf collection. I picked it up for 50p in a charity shop, and I thought, this looks quite good. I wasn't sure, but I just had that instinct. I'm a really good bookseller. I just had that instinct that it was good. So got it home, left it alone for a couple of weeks, and then thought, I'll do some research. And I looked at some auction records, and yeah, it's a sort of £75, £85 book. So I ain't selling me Virginia Woolfs yet. But anyway, the point is that's another avenue I can explore. And I love selling books. They're such a passion. So that would be really fun to do. I've started making lists of all these things. In a way, here we go. I know I'm going on now, but I'm excited. In a way, it's like I'm having a holiday. Now, I'm not, because I can't afford to have a holiday. And I'm certainly not going to be sitting on a beach with a pina colada every day for the next month. No. But it's a holiday in terms of it's going to be completely different to what I've done for the last 3 years. How refreshing is that? So, there's some snagging jobs around the flat that I need to sort out. Really long overdue. So quite a lot of the things I'm planning to do in August, they won't be money makers, but I'm hoping that the few things I do like eBay and ABE books, if I can, hopefully that will be enough income to just sort of slide me through August and September, because then let's say I get my sewing machine back at the end of August, I still won't have any stock for the shop. So September, I'll be flat out sewing, so that hopefully by the end of September, yay, relaunch the shop. But there's loads I can do in August in preparation for that as well, because, for example, all my fabrics, I've got yards and yards and yards. I've said yards, not meters. Oh, I've gone into a time warp. Masses of fabric. It takes ages to do all the cutting, even with a rotary cutter. It takes ages. So I could spend probably 3 or 4 days cutting all the fabric, absolutely every bit of fabric I've got, cutting it either for bunting or for patchwork, whether I make more lavender bags or patchworks for shopping bags, whatever it is. I could literally just spend days and days and days cutting. I'll have to do those days interspersed with other things, because it does kind of, because I've got arthritis in my wrists and my elbows too, all that kind of pressure with the rotary cutter. But anyway, that's another possibility. So yeah, holiday. And the other thing I thought, I've got a couple of recipe books which are new to me. Now, I don't really use recipe books very much, generally because I've got my little repertoire of meals I make. I'm sure we're all like that if it's your main dinner, you've probably got a repertoire of 15, 20 dishes you do, so that over the course of a month, you may have something twice, you may have it once. Also, I tend not to use recipe books because when you look at the ingredients, I think, well, I don't have that and I don't have that. So everything I cook is based around what I've got from the garden, obviously. But I thought it might be quite fun with these. One of them is the cookery book, Girl Called Jack, that MJ sent me. Thank you, MJ. I thought, yeah, why not have a little sit down with the cookery books, maybe find a few recipes I like the look of, where I've got a substantial amount of the ingredients already, and may have to buy a few bits and pieces, but with Jack especially, she cooks massively on a budget. So I thought, yeah, I can explore my recipe books. I'm so excited about all this. Cutting. Oh yeah, another thing is, for instance, back to YouTube, I got this new editing program at the end of January when, if you remember, my computer died completely. When I had to buy a new hard drive, and then I had to buy new editing software because the previous software was no longer available. And honestly, I haven't explored it very much at all. So it's only recently I found out how to add music. And I really like putting music on my videos. It just adds that other texture. So I haven't explored things like playing with the speed of videos. I was just literally last night having a play, and then I stopped because my head was hurting. The video you're going to see after this one, I've explored playing with keeping my audio track, in other words, the voice that I was saying anyway, but removing the images and putting a different image in instead. Just having a little play. So there's all those things for me to explore and play with too. Yeah, so listen, I've only scratched the surface of all the possible things I could do over the next 4 weeks. But back to two things, health and YouTube. One, I don't want to bite off more than I can chew, because I know that I'm prone to that. I'm a bit of a perfectionist. I'm a bit of a just go at it. What I would like to do, so it's Friday today, is tomorrow, Saturday, the 1st of August, Saturday and Sunday, this weekend, I'm going to have really quiet days. I'll have to go to the garden to water because we're toasting, baking hot at the moment. That's fine. But basically, just have a couple of really quiet days, get a piece of paper out, and schedule the whole month. Normally when I schedule my day, I will literally schedule from 7 in the morning till 10 at night, by the hour, do this, it's too much. But just literally, for example, might say on Tuesday, read the Jack cookbook, try one dish. So it's a simple thing for each day. And I'm going to try to have a Monday to Friday schedule so that on Saturdays and Sundays I give myself the time off. That doesn't mean I'm just going to, I don't know, stay in bed all day. Maybe I will. It just means that on Saturday and Sunday I don't have to worry about whatever the thing is that I'm doing. It has to be something that generates an income. I can do something and not think about an income. So, for example, I might spend the day reading. Oh, that would be lovely. Just give myself a break. And so finally, Esther, just back to this this thing about YouTube. Oy vey, what a love-hate relationship I'm having with it at the moment. So, like I said, right at the top of this video, I do love it. I love creating. I really, really love the interaction with you guys and the feedback afterwards. That's great. So so having decided at the beginning of July that I'd only do one video a week, that was it, if that at all. There's a part of me that's thinking now, well, I might just do a video every single day through August. Just a little one, just a little 10-minute catch up. This is how I'm going to spend my time today. Some of it might be of interest to other folk. Some of it might not be. I don't know. So, look, I'm not going to put any pressure on myself to commit to that. What am I trying to say? Let's just see how it goes. There will be the normal sort of half-hour videos from the garden. I've already filmed the next one, which you'll see on Sunday. I filmed the tour. I filmed that early just because I was trying to get my sewing finished. That was before I knew my sewing machine was going to go up the spout. So there will be my normal sort of half-hour videos coming from time to time. But like I said, I might just do some daft 10-minute jobbies just to say hi, show you what I've been up to, especially if I can get this ABE thing sorted. Yeah, so I can't wait for August. You know, I think what I'm trying to say fundamentally, what are you trying to say, Vivi? You know, best laid plans and all that. The biggest thing I've learned in the last 3 years is I have to be flexible. Absolutely. So if you're thinking about jacking your job in and trying to live without a wage, you have to have a gazillion and one backup plans. And even if they're not formulated, you know, you need to sort out a backup pretty quickly in case something goes wrong. For instance, I do have a little savings fund completely separate to everything else, and literally every time I sell a string of bunting or sell something from the shop, I will take half of that amount of money. And remember, a lot of that cost isn't profit, a lot of it is the cost of materials, but even so, I'll take half of that amount and I'll put it aside for, I've got two funds in one thing together. That's the computer and the sewing machine fund. And this is my biggest advice to anyone who's going to go and try and live wage free, but do their cottage industry on the side. Whatever it is you're relying on to make that little bit of extra income for your bills, you have to protect those assets. So my computer, and I kind of sort of think of the camera in with the computer too, but my camera and my computer and my sewing machine are my absolutely most important assets after me. So that's why I need to do my health kick in August to look after me. But it just means that at any point in the future, if either of them break, God forbid they both break at the same time, but I've got enough, I've always got that little pocket of money. So for example, to pay for the service and repairs, I've got the money for that. But if my computer broke beyond repair, I've got enough money set aside now to buy a completely new computer. I know that, you know, you guys have been so generous over time, sending me little bits of cash gifts every now and again. And I really appreciate them. But I don't rely on them. And I think that's really, really important. You know, it's important for any YouTube creators out there. I don't think, you know, I think there are two camps of YouTube creators, and, you know, I think about people like Colette at Bealtine Cottage. Oh, I love her. Kate at Last Homely House. Adore Kate too. You know, Richard and Paul as well. That all these creators are, you know, they're always incredibly grateful for any gift that a viewer sends, but they do not rely on it. They don't ask for it. In some ways, they don't want it. And I feel like I'm in that camp too, whereas there are other YouTubers who are like, oh, well, if you want me to keep making videos, you have to send me money, because if you don't send me money, I can't get a hard drive, so if you don't do it, you're not going to get any videos, almost like a sort of like blackmail. I'm never, ever going to do that to you guys, which is why I'm always at pains when I'm talking about money, to say right from the beginning, this is not a request for money. It isn't. I'm all right, Jack. Talking of a girl named Jack. Yes, so that sounded a little bit negative, didn't it? I didn't mean it in a negative way. I'm actually trying to say something really positive. Yes, if you're going to go on your own, brilliant, good on you. Brave. But just make sure you've got a contingency plan, because if you are relying on something for that extra bit of money in order to, I don't know, you know, pay your bills, or, you know, upkeep, maintenance of, you know, like if you're doing up your cottage. And I know Colette's had this for her roof. She's kind of putting the pennies away for her roof fund. That yeah, you just make sure that you've got something you can do to support yourself if all the other things, like a house of cards, fall down. So if YouTube take your revenue away, if your sewing machine breaks. Anyway, oh my goodness, I've been going on one. I'm getting so hot. Oh, the thermostat's gone up again. So, my head. I think it's more than time for me to say cheerio to you all. I can't wait for August. Yay! And I hope you're all looking forward to August too. There may even be times to just sit in the garden and do nothing. Oh, sit in the garden with a book. How wonderful. Whatever it is you've got planned, I hope you've got some lovely ideas and some lovely plans. And if they don't come to fruition, be flexible, change your plans, do something else. Whatever you do, just try and be at one with it. Try and make the most of whatever situation you're in. So, when will I see you? I will see you in a couple of days in the garden, and after that, don't know, might be in the kitchen, might be in here, I just don't know, but that's okay, isn't it? I can't wait. Can you tell? I think the biggest thing I can't wait for is tomorrow, just to have a day off, just to let all of this just sink in, permeate, just give myself this sort of space in my head to allow it to just develop organically, as it were. So until the next time, please look after yourselves, look after each other, and you know what, more than anything, just make the most of today. Make the most of it. See you soon.